everybody? What's good, everybody, man? Welcome back to the channel, man. This is your boy, AK Harrison, from whoisaKHarrison.com. You are in another session of Hip Hop Literature 101. Yep. Class is in session, man. Man, so I was on the internet today, the good old internet. Most specifically YouTube, right? And I came across a content creator by the name of Side B. Hold on. And he was reviewing Chance the Rapper's album, and he said something that was very similar to what I had said. I want to say Friday or Saturday, whenever I had gave the review. But I'm gonna pull up this article that I had wrote, so everybody's just on the same page, so you know what I'm talking about. Because I, in my humble expert opinion, because I'm an expert at I'm an 80s baby. I can identify some pretty good hip hop when I hear it. Illmatic is in high regard to me. I have hip hop Illmatic as probably top album of all time as far as hip hop is concerned. Just a pure album, that New York sound, that stuff that we love. Tribe Called Quest is up there. Outkast is up there. Wu-Tang 36 Chambers is up there. You might throw in a Jay-Z album, that's up there. Those albums. Oh yeah, Tupac Shakur, I forgot, man. All Eyes on Me is up there. That first double disc CD. Classic albums, all classic albums, right? But this right here, this list that I had wrote, it's not necessarily classic albums. They are classic in their own right. Some things gonna have to happen, if you will, to really make these albums classics. Like, they're gonna have to be some cultural event around these albums, but one of them is a classic. However, the albums that's on this list, they are important. The ones that I actually wrote about. Okay, maybe not the best, maybe not all-time great albums, but just the most important albums that came out this last 10 years, from 2015 to 2025. And Chance the Rapper's Starline made the cut, made the list, and I wrote about it. I wrote an article about it. We about to go ahead and pull it up, man, just so y'all can see it. It's on X. Check it out. We're gonna go ahead and transition right quick. Alright. There we go, man. So let's go. So these are the 10 albums that I have that are the most important. Not influential, not best. The most important 10 albums that came out over the previous 10 years. And we have 2 entries for 2025. Alright. So you got Big Crit up there. You got this guy right here, you know who that is, but let's go ahead and check this thing on out. Let's blow it out right quick. We gotta get right, man. Alright, so we have can't I keep my post together, man? There it is. All right, up here we have, let's see, To Pimp a Butterfly. We got Eve at number 1, To Pimp a Butterfly. King's Disease 3, Telephone, Spill Legend. I know I'm gonna get a lot of pushback off of that one right there, but that one is the theme of that album. What makes it the most important, one of the most important albums. The Good Fight with Odyssey, man. Shout out to underground hip hop. Digital Roses Don't Die, Big Crit. This album right here, for a southern artist to be that ambitious, it's the step in the right direction that you would want all artists to do at some point in their career, right? When it comes to hip hop, you would want especially the rappers / producers, like if you can come up with a beat, you producing this good piece of content, and you can pivot, if you will, right? Or completely do something different, just jump into a new lane. This right here was tastefully done. Caught Up in This Illusion, that is Juicy's J. Jazz album, please check that out. The music on that thing is just brilliant. Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, Hip Hop Therapy 101. And then you have Starline, okay? Then you have Starline. Alright, Starline. But what we're gonna do, we're gonna check out first Needle Drop, see what he had to say about Chance the Rapper. Then we're gonna go into another content creator who is on the same page.
Hi everyone, Kothany Work Tano here, the internet's busiest music nerd, and it's time for a review of this new Chance the Rapper album, Starline. Yes, here we have a brand new LP from Chicago rapper, singer, songwriter, Chance the Rapper, with what in my opinion is one of the most highly anticipated albums of the decade.
Highly anticipated, absolutely, because what Acid Rap came out 2014. So yeah, hey man, he's been around for a long time already.
Because we are talking about a follow-up here that has been promised and pushed back numerous times at this point. And for those of you who are out of the know, you might be wondering, why are there so many eyes and ears curious about this album? Well, it's because when you're talking about the great online rap reset of the 2010s, an era when hip-hop really became the musical zeitgeist, there was just this huge multi-year wave of groundbreaking, exciting artists coming out of every part of the country, even Canada, believe it or not, many of whom have become some of the most dominant voices in the music industry since. And in the thick of all of it, Chicago's Chance the Rapper had a truly exponential rise, even though his mainstream break came more around the middle of the decade. Because in a few short years, this guy went from viral acid rap mixtape to massive features with some of the biggest names in the music industry, be it Justin Bieber, Skrillex. At one point,
hey, if y'all know anything about that Justin Bieber record, that was my shit. Juke Jam. We had so much history, baby. Maybe. That's hard.
Chance even had the endorsement of one of his greatest musical idols, Kanye West. I mean, as he says through his feature on Kanye's Ultralight Beam, I met Kanye West, I'm never going to fail. And with Chance, you can keep going because the guy got multiple Grammy nominations. He was at one time the face of a Kit Kat ad campaign. This guy was even performing at the White House for the Obamas. So it really is true when I say that there were few rap artists of the 2010s that were suddenly riding as high as Chance was. And he had a really clear and wide appeal given his standout voice.
All right, so you can see where he was as far as being an independent artist just off of mixtapes, okay? Just off of mixtapes.
Voice, his attention grabbing.
The second superstar off of mixtapes, because Drake was the first That's So Far Gone album or mixtape, set him up to be who he is today. Acid Rap, Day 10 set up Chance the Rapper for who he is today. Well, there's another album.
Ad-libs. Many of his classy production choices, which featured fusions of soul, jazz, gospel, and pop, and a lot of his sense of humor and empathy that came through in his lyrics, his open religiosity as well. So yeah, for a moment, Chance was shaping up to be one of hip-hop's biggest modern stars. However, even at his biggest peak of success, nothing truly felt finalized, mostly because he was yet to really drop a proper full-length commercial album, which many fans anticipated would be coming out not too long after Coloring Book, but it actually wouldn't be until 2019 we would get that album, The Big Day. Now, 2019, as a reminder, is now 6 years ago at this point, which is a time period that's so long, it's likely there are people watching this video who weren't really there at the...
And I actually like that album. I felt like that's an important album too, because the content, man, the content about love and marriage and family, all themes that you just don't hear in hip hop. Could it have been executed a little bit better? Sure. But from my ears as a lover of hip hop, I thought the album was great.
Time or paying attention to Chance's career in that moment, and because of that, I want to stress that the release of this album truly was one of the most unique social phenomenons I had ever witnessed in mainstream music. Yes, because while I didn't like the album myself, I mean, I gave it a 0 out of 10, there's a lot of albums I review every year pretty negatively that actually still have massive...
And that's the thing with Fantano. Sometimes he will score an album from his point of view, his perspective, and that's what it is, right? I can recall when he had gave Kanye's Twisted Dark Fantasy like a 6 or something like that, a 5 or a 6, and the whole internet just lit his ass up. What are you talking about? This album is a classic. Which he came back and gave a second review, and I think he ended up giving it like an 8 or a 9, something like that.
Passionate audiences behind them and still see at least some commercial success. However, in this instance, I have never seen an artist go so quickly from beloved superstar to almost total pariah that many fans and listeners just lost faith in overnight. And fans questioning your creative talents is one thing, but Chance was also turned into a near laughingstock with an almost endless torrent of memes making fun of him for loving his wife.
Yeah, it was pretty bad, man. It was pretty bad. the internet is not a kind of place.
Some of which were pretty funny, I will admit. But even as someone who didn't really like The Big Day, I have to say, like, it wasn't that persistent of a topic across the entire album that it warranted this much focus. So yeah, 2019, not a great year for Chance professionally, and after this, things would also go downhill personally, because for him, a lot of the music industry interest kind of dissipated. Chance and his partner would eventually seek a divorce.
Yep. Which is the perfect landing point to make a great album.
Hey everyone.
There we go. So, which leads me to signified B-sides. Love it.
All right, I'm just fresh from the gym, so please don't judge if I'm like extra oily or crusty on the face. I mean, look, I haven't shaved in a while. I'm in gobbler mode, y'all, because we got videos coming soon. But
Let's go.
It's all made better because I think I found my new album of the year.
Album of the year. I love it, man. Let's go.
I could be overreacting. I'm racking my brain just to make sure.
No.
But I don't know if there's...
No. You're not racking your brain because album of the year, it depends. Man, I have JID as album of the year. I love the theme. I just love what JID can do when he's rapping. His rapping ability is massive. But Starline is there.
Ever been anything like what's happening with Chance the Rapper right now and like the history of hip hop?
Come on.
Over this past weekend, this is August 19th, I guess.
Let's go.
Chance the Rapper released Starline, technically only his second major studio album, with his first being the much maligned Big Day back in 2019. Yep. And 7 years after that, and a lot of stuff in between, which I'll talk about, here we have Starline, which is probably my new favorite album of the year.
Mine too, because at first I didn't even listen to Starline when it first came out. I kind of gave it some time because I was still listening to JID, which I'm still listening to JID. It has been a great year for hip hop. Let's call it is what it is, man. Hip hop is winning. Interesting too, right? Because I watched Signified B-Sides, and he was saying that hip hop had an age problem, and then back to back, two younger artists knock it out of the park.
A year that has brought some great stuff. Jid just came out 2 weeks ago. The Clips album is critically acclaimed, everybody loves, and it's very, very good. Came out a couple weeks before that. Yep. One of my new faves that I found this year is McKinley Dixon with Matt.
I'm gonna check this one out right here. If y'all know anything about this artist right here, y'all let me know. McKinley Dixon.
Magic Alive, which I've talked about a couple of times, and a bunch of other stuff I haven't listened to because I don't be having time. So, take it with a grain of salt. But for me, Starline, while it may not be everyone's favorite album, I get it if you just think it's cool or just pretty good. For me, for my ears, for my disposition, for my background, this is not just my favorite album of the year. It's probably my favorite album in several years, right?
Man, that is huge. So much content, man. So much content that God, Jesus, family, being black, being a man, being a black man. Like, he is on point. Chance the Rapper, this album, dog. I haven't heard it like that in a long time. A long time.
Right? And even if you don't think the album is a new classic the way I think it is, it's clear that the streets are definitely looking at this as a huge comeback for a rapper who, let's be honest, was left for dead by the rap game over the last few years. If you're younger or you haven't been paying attention, it may be hard to imagine right now, but for a moment, Chance the Rapper was the next big thing, or really just the big thing in hip hop. Like, at the time when the concept of the big three was forming, I'd argue that he was up there with what we call the big three right now. Like, he probably would have taken J. Cole's spot, if not Drake or Kendrick's spot at the same time. And he did this completely independent without a label, but was still able to penetrate the main.
And that what made it so special too, right? Man, that acid rap mixtape was crack. Everybody who I turned on to that mixtape, every time I would go to their house during that time, Chance was in the speakers, man. He was on the Bluetooth.
Mainstream music zeitgeist. He had heavy radio play nationwide. He went on a worldwide tour that grossed over $30 million. And he had a ton of love and goodwill in the culture because he had this infectious joy in his music that contrasted with the prevailing tone of hip hop at the time.
Come on, man. Positivity, dog. When everybody else coke rap, shoot 'em up, bang bang, and we love it. We love it. We love bravado. We love the hood, right? But there's a different perspective of the hood, though, right? There's a different perspective. There's a different standpoint. Everybody can't be the drug user. Everybody can't be the drug pusher. Some of us just sliding through having fun with the homies, right? That's why an artist like Kendrick Lamar, his music is special. That's why I Have No Name. Her point of view is interesting and important as well. So Chance the Rapper, he checks that box, man. You know, some of us grew up with some great situations, mom and dad, and according to the album, some uncles too, man. Beautiful.
Time, but didn't come off preachy or obnoxious. In fact, on plenty of occasions, Chance was able to relay the same bravado-laced messages, but with a joyful spirit. Chance was legit the biggest thing in hip-hop, I don't know, between like...
I wonder what's this concert, man?
2014 and 2018, up until the release of his first official album, The Big Day, and that kind of changed everything.
I am genuinely feeling like a strong 0 on this record.
Fall-offs come in all types of forms. Like, for instance, more people know Nori as a podcaster now and don't realize that with Capone, as Capone and Noriega.
Capone and Noriega, T-O-N-Y, King of NY, Multiply, Killer Die, You Got Beef, I Got Beef. That was a hard record.
They had one of the best New York gangster rap albums of all time in the mid-90s, or that after that album, when Capone went to jail for a few years, Nor released a solo album that was also critically acclaimed. Yeah. However, he said himself that he was never that interested in rapping, which showed because his second solo album, Doo-Doo Water, and he mostly didn't do anything since then except for a reunion album with Capone, but that came years later and nothing since then. In an opposite situation, Nas started out as probably the most critically acclaimed rapper that the culture had ever seen for a while, with his first album, Illmatic.
Hey man, classic album. Yeah, I have it at 1. If you have it in your top 5, if you have it somewhere at 5, I'm comfortable with that. At 10, we might have to have a conversation about
a paradigm-shifting moment in hip-hop and probably still the greatest rap album of all time. For Nas, it wasn't so much of a fall-off as it was just an inability to reach that same peak again for years, along with some clear difficulties in understanding how to make hits or even just pick beats. Babilla, you know what to put right here. Go ahead and do that for me. And you can hear this farty-ass beat.
When it comes to sex advice, I'm the one to call if you're a virgin with blue balls or you tear down walls.
Dude, I actually like Dr. Knock Boo. That's the thing, right? A lot of this stuff is objective, right? One beat that I didn't like is on Illmatic. I think it's called One Time for Your Mind. Um, yeah. But it'll work. Dr. Knock Boot was good with me. I think I just like the theme of it, man, and the delivery of Dr. Knock Boot. Do, don't, do. Like after each line, it was like either this is something that you'll do, and then the next line it'll come with something and you don't. I thought that was pretty clever.
What is this beat? Then you have someone like DaBaby, who, if you ask me, should never have been big. Like, I never felt like people were really checking for DaBaby like that. He definitely had a few hits.
And you know what? I was surprised when DaBaby blew up too. I had a few of his earlier stuff, like the mixtapes when he was like, I think Big Baby Jesus, something like that. And yeah, I love the flow. I love the sound, what he was saying. Like, dude could rap. Like, he can rap. So when he had got as popular as he did, I was like, wow.
But even then, they felt inflated in their presence. Maybe it was because I was, too old for them at the time or too old for them now. But when's the last time you listened to Suge? Was Suge really a hit like that? Regardless, DaBaby was...
It was definitely a moment in time.
Everywhere for years. He was a sex symbol for reasons I get into in my Black Man Sexuality video, which I'll just say weren't the best reasons. He also had a ton of antics, getting into fights all the time and other nonsense.
I think he shot somebody too.
But when he had a few uglier moments, saying some homophobic stuff at a concert.
Fellas, lights up. Fellas, if you ain't sucking niggas dick in the parking lot, put your cell phone lights up. Let's be real about this shit.
And having a public, very toxic relationship.
Boy, they pack his ass up after that, boy.
Relationship with one of his numerous baby mamas. The culture felt like his music wasn't adding up to his antics, and he's pretty much gone now.
It wasn't the culture. It was the machine. The machine got him smooth up out of there. Because he still made some music here and there. He was on one of those Dreamville records, which was actually a pretty good song too, but the machine said, nope. Get your ass up out of here.
For a bit of deep lore, let me introduce those of you under the age of 40 to Special Ed. Yes, that was his real rap name. Fuck y'all, the 90s was great. I'm not cringe, y'all are cringe. Special Ed's song, I Got It Made, was so fucking iconic for that era. Look at us. Look how much fucking fun we're having. This was a moment. Y'all young niggas ain't got shit like this. Well, you probably do, but I don't know.
That's London, right?
Our shit was better anyway. And it's not like the world was so much better back then. We were at the tail end of the crack era right now. South Africa was still an apartheid state, and we were 4 years away from the crime bill. Shit wasn't sweet. We just felt better about it. And this song was everywhere. It was the Not Like Us of 1990, I promise. Ed's first album went gold, and then he had a second big hit with The Mission, and then like nothing for 4 or 5 years. He popped back up in 1995 with the song ironically titled Never Go Back, in which he rapped about how he would never fall off. And then, of course, he immediately fell off and was mostly never relevant again. With Chance, though, I don't know, it really doesn't make a ton of sense, but I have some personal theories that it was a combination of things. I think the biggest factor is that Chance had a combination of features that made him a target in the industry. For one, he did not fit the expected, desired, highly marketable image of the black male rap star, even at the time, even in an era post-Kanye West, because Kanye was a huge star. Chance rejected that overt image of thug and black dysfunction in his music. Like, Kanye was always clamoring for white attention, something that is even more obvious now. Chance was mostly just being himself and wasn't really into all of the opulent, like, gaudy stuff that Kanye was doing. Yet he somehow still embodied a lot of elements of traditional black masculinity without it feeling forced.
I'm gonna say this, man. when you look at Chance, I mean, just looking at that image right there, that what happens when you have a dad in your life. Let's go ahead. That's that screen. That what happens when you have a dad in your life, dog. Let me one time for the fathers. He got his pants up. He got a belt on. Got a cap. Man, he looked like he about to go to work or something, man. Shout out to the fathers. And whenever you have a father in your life, he can really guide you through some things, man. You know what I'm saying? Keep you on track. You can share. He's gonna be like, hey, do this, do that. I wouldn't do it like that. Try this. You know? Something that I think that Kanye is missing. Because it shows that he's missing Donda, which I'm going to write about that pretty soon. I think what we are missing, we're not missing the old Kanye. What we're really missing is Miss Donda West. But shout out to the dad.
One of his biggest hits, No Problem, is literally an open threat to the music industry, featuring Lil Wayne and 2 Chainz. But it sounds like a black church choir rehearsal. It's something really unique to him for the most part. Yeah. On top of that, Chance wasn't overtly misogynistic, was very public about his marriage and his desire to be normal. And this is just not how people want their black male superstar rappers. They don't want us to be normal. And that made him a target, not just by the industry, but if you're going to keep it real, by cynical, shitty hip-hop fans, male and female alike. So that whenever Chance did have a bad moment in the press, people were quick to be like, see, Chance ain't shit either. And
all right, so the black male aesthetic, Chance in hip-hop, he was anti that. That goes back to my list where I have Rhapsody and I have No Name, which they are totally different from your Nickies, your Cardis, your Megans, your Sexy Reds, your Dolces, Doja Cats. They're doing something totally different from that, with some theme too, and they look great.
Was looking to dogpile on him. And if I put my conspiracy hat on, I'd argue that even that probably wasn't organic, but was probably something being done by the industry at large. Sure. Remember, this is that time period before streaming really took off, where the industry was really struggling to lose money, and having the biggest rapper in the world be completely independent wasn't gonna ride with them. And so suddenly the same things that made Chance unique and beloved, his off-kilter flow, his one-of-a-kind ad-libs, and his public persona, those became mocked, and he became kind of a lolcow for a couple of years.
Oh, I love my wife. I love my wife. Let's go ride a bike with my wife.
And then after his divorce, and I hate to say this, a lot of fans immediately wondered if the pain of that experience would send him back to the booth.
Chancellor. That's a Detroit Red Wings. So you got Chicago 3 hat, Detroit Red Wings.
With the vengeance. And I don't think it's that simple, nor do I want to undermine how hard divorce can be on people, especially black men. But I can't lie that when he did start dropping music not long after his divorce, it was clear that he had found whatever was missing those previous years. And pretty much a year later, here we are with Starline.
All right, something about that divorce, you know what? It's the pain. It's the pain that can push good music, man. Whenever y'all get a chance, check out Nas's album. What is it called? Not The Good Life. Yeah, see, I'm gonna have to look it up now. He's on the album cover. Hey, what's Nas's album with him wearing a white tuxedo holding a green dress?
You
you're probably talking about Nas's album King's Disease 3. On that album cover, he's definitely wearing a white tux and holding that green dress over his arm. It's a pretty striking image, and it definitely stands out.
No, it's not. King's Disease 3 has 3 gold bars, man. What are you talking about?
Oh, my bad. You're absolutely right. King's Disease 3 does have those 3 gold bars on the cover, not a tuxedo image. Thanks for catching that. I must have mixed it up. The album you're thinking of is The Lost Tapes 2. On that cover, Nas is indeed in a white tuxedo and he's holding a green garment. Definitely a memorable look. Thanks for keeping me on my toes.
Man, if you don't knock it off, give me a list of Nas's albums.
Alright, fair enough. I got you. Let's keep it nice and simple. Here's a quick rundown of Nas's studio albums. 1, Illmatic, 1994, the legendary debut. 2, It Was Written, 1996, includes hits like Fire Ruled the World. 3, I Am, 1999, known for tracks like Nas Is Like. 4, Nostradamus, Drop the Savior As I Am. 5, Stillmatic, 2001, featuring the iconic One Mic. 6, God's Son, 2002, with the heartfelt dance. Street's Disciple, 2004, a double album. Hip Hop Is Dead, 2006, title track stirred quiet conversation. Untitled, 2008, originally intended to have a different name. 10, Life Is Good, 2012.
That's it right there, man. Life is good. Sheesh.
Absolutely, that's the one. Life Is Good it is. Honestly, that cover is super memorable, and it really stands out in his discography.
Can't be too memorable when you forgot what it was. You was talking about King Disease and Lost Tapes and anything else, but Life Is Good.
Fair point, fair point. I'll take that one on the chin. Sometimes my memory for album covers goes on a little detour. But hey, we got to the right one in the end. If you need any more Nas info or anything else, just let me know.
All right.
And I'm trying not to oversell how inspirational and dope
But yeah, Godson, hey, masterpiece, man. Masterpiece of an album.
I think this is. Because while people like Nas or Lupe Fiasco both have had late career resurgence.
Is that the suit that he had on the album cover? Could be.
They also did that late in their careers, meaning they had a chunk of time at the beginning of their career to build up momentum and capture a diehard element of their audience. Yeah. And then by the time they made their comeback, they had kind of aged out of mainstream cultural relevance and was mostly just recapturing that same audience that they had years before. On the flip side, Chance is still very young. He's only 32, a few years older than Playboi Carti and actually younger than Jid. He didn't have time to build a legacy of diehard fans to hold him down through the last couple of years of his down era like a Nas or a Lupe. Chance is literally recapturing a space that was vacated by him, and he's having to fight off other artists within his generation also in his prime. Like when Nas was making these classic albums coming out of COVID, he wasn't also dealing with more albums from Jay-Z or Method Man or DMX or anybody that was relevant in his era. Meanwhile, Chance is dropping only a few weeks after Jid dropped an album, only a few weeks before that, Tyler the Creator.
Man, hip-hop is in a great place because I haven't even gotten around to Tyler the Creator's album, even though I've heard some great things about it. And Tyler, this back half of his career, magnifique. Bro, he's having the career that I think J. Cole is supposed to be having. Real talk, man. He's amazing.
We're still listening to GNX by Kendrick. Yeah. Joey Badass and J. Cole will probably drop albums by the
Alfredo too.
The end of the year. So he's literally having to fight for his life against both his contemporaries, people before him, and new folks like Yeet, right? Y'all are still trying to make Yeet happen. I'm not saying Yeet is bad. I just don't.
I haven't listened to Yeet yet, but We'll see.
Don't get it, but I know he's very relevant right now, and there's people that probably are listening both to Chance the Rapper and Yeet. Shout out to those people. But those same things that I think hurt Chance the Rapper also made it possible for this comeback. Because he's independent, he had the freedom to make what is actually quietly a really radical album. Like, the subject matter of the album, again, manages to say some real shit, but not have it sound preachy. Even this name, Starline, is in reference to the Black Star Shipping Company from one Marcus Garvey. And I just generally find the whole thing inspirational and dope, and considering how much other negative, toxic stuff is happening in hip-hop culture, I think it's really good to champion this.
Amen. Amen. Okay? Because so many stick talk, so much stick talk and gun bars, and this album was such a breath of fresh air. Like, man, I can detox, if you will. I can reset my palette, you know, my musical palette. I can reset. Like the song called Water, I could take a sip of water. Rinse it down.
This moment as something dope for the culture, for the art form of hip-hop. Making art as a black artist in general is a precarious thing, and it's even more volatile when you're on your own and not being backed by a machine. And while you can't bottle what Chance is doing and what he did with this album, it's inspirational to black artists out there in terms of what's possible even when the odds are against you. So salute to Chance for this one. If you can't tell by some of the video subject matter or these gray hairs multiplying on my face,
alright, I think you're going to go ahead and end it right there, man. Let's go ahead and close that on out. Back here. Alright, yeah, man. So with that being said, man, this is one of the most important rap albums to drop this year, man. It really is, dog. Most important rap albums to drop in the last 10 years, man. So I just wanted to go ahead and cover the bases with y'all, man. Get that one on out there. We're gonna be dropping some more content pretty doggone soon. Until next time, we out. Peace.